Hello everyone, my name is Emmanuel Itoji and welcome to my YouTube channel. And today I'm just going to be telling out a story. So some years back I was working for Microsoft through one of their partner, and the IT department, they actually provisioned some accounts for us. Out of the three accounts, there is a particular account, and this account is actually where we have different resources to use. And of course, there is actually a conditional access on the account. That means this account can only be accessed on the company's system. And again, there is also a GPO policy on the assigned system by the organization. So any site that is not a Microsoft site, we cannot access it. So supporting Microsoft customers globally, there is need to sometimes visit third-party sites in which you're doing research. You'll be able to get some solutions apart from the Microsoft site itself. So basically, we needed a virtual machines, and those virtual machines are the things that we need to actually use to do research, to check other third-party websites, be it a blog site and the likes. So from the resources that was provisioned, there was needs to actually migrate or move the subscriptions from the directory that the subscription was provisioned for to a different directory that we can sign in even when we're not on the company's system. So in today's I'm going to actually be discussing with us today how to move an Azure subscription from one directory to another directory. So from the screen you can see that we have a directory, an Azure Active Directory on the side that has a subscription. So how do we move this subscription from this directory to this other directory? That's what we'll be looking in today's video. So what are we going to cover in today's video? We want to change subscription directory in Azure. So we're going to be looking at what is an Azure Active Directory. Basically, it's going to discuss about the overview of the Microsoft Azure Active Directory, which is currently referred to as Microsoft Entra ID. Then we'll be looking at what is an Azure subscriptions. What do we mean by the subscription itself that we're actually moving? Then we'll go through a demo, and from the demo we'll do a quick summary of everything that we've discussed so far. So what is Azure Active Directory? So an Azure Active Directory is a cloud-based identity and access management service. It enables your employee access external resources such as Microsoft 365, the Azure portal, and thousands of other SaaS applications. Azure Active Directory also helps them to access internal resources like apps on your corporate intranet and any cloud apps developed for your own organization. So this is just an high-level overview of what an Azure Active Directory is, and will not be going deep further. So what is an Azure subscriptions? So an Azure subscription is a logical container used to provision resources in Azure. What does that mean? If you don't have an Azure subscriptions, you will not be able to provision any resources whatsoever in Azure. So the logical container that we use to provision those resources in Azure is all known as the Azure subscriptions. And it also holds the detail of all your resources like the virtual machines, the databases, and more. And a subscription in Azure is both a billing entity and also a security boundary. What does that mean? Every resource that is provisioned is actually provisioned under a subscription. So if a user doesn't have the required access to the particular subscription, the user in the organization or in the directory will not be able to actually have access to the applications or resources that has been deployed with that subscription. And finally, a subscription is associated with a single Azure AD directory. Multiple subscriptions can trust the same directory, but a subscription can only be trusted on one directory. What does that mean? When you provision a subscription to a particular directory, you purchase or you activated an Azure subscription. That subscription can only be associated to just that So just one directory. That means you have the opportunity to move the subscription from one directory to another directory. It can only stay in a particular directory at a go, but multiple subscription, different subscription can actually be associated with a single Azure Active Directory. That means that I can decide to buy a pay-as-you-go subscription. I can decide to buy another subscription for maybe I have different departments in the organization. I'll be able to purchase multiple subscription. Maybe I want subscription to be for production workload, and some other subscription to just be like for development workload. Alright, having talked about that, let's jump into a demo quickly. Alright, so here I am in the Azure folder. So if you click on subscriptions here, we're going to see that this particular directory or tenant has a subscription known as the Visual Studio Enterprise subscription, and this is actually the same subscription that was actually provisioned for us with the partner that I was working with. So how did we activate this subscription in the first place? So this subscription can be activated by navigating to my.visualstudio.com. Once you click on my.visualstudio.com and you sign in with your account, you're going to jump to this page, and on this page you see the different benefits from the Visual Studio subscriptions. So what you need to do is to click on this subscription here to activate. By the time you click on this activate button, it's going to actually take you to the portal.azure.com, which is this page here, the home page, and to show you that this subscription has been activated. So because I've actually activated the subscription before, if I click on activate now, I'm going to actually get the page that says you can't activate this Virtual Studio benefits more than once. Alright, so this is our source directory where we want to actually migrate the subscription from. So we want to move the subscription from this directory. You can see up here, this is actually my personal account. Is actually my Microsoft account that I used to activate, that is actually associated with my Microsoft certified trainer. Is actually my MCT account. So I actually activated this with my MCT because I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. So this is a source account. So we have another directory in which we want to actually migrate the subscription to. So this is the directory that we're actually migrating the subscription to. It's our recipient directory basically. So if you check, also we navigated to the portal.azure.com using the credential of the recipient directory. So if you use the search button here and search for subscriptions, under services you click on subscriptions, you'll notice that in this particular directory we don't have any subscription here. And as I said in the presentation slide, a subscription can only be associated to one directory at a time. So since the subscription is on the other directory, I want to move the subscription to this directory. So what are the steps that we need to use to perform this? So join me now for us to go through the steps. So the first thing is that we'll go to the home for the source directory. We'll search for the Azure Active Directory here, but because I've actually gone there under services, you see Azure Active Directory, you click on that. So we need to actually invite the user from the destination directory to the source directory. So how do we do that? We click on the users. From there we click on new user. So this is actually a new interface. You will see invite external user. So for the user account, we need the email address, So you're going to put the email address for the destination account there. Let me get the email address of the destination account. You paste it there. You can put a display name. Then if you have any message, so the most important thing is one that is asterisk, which is actually the email address. Click on review and invite, then click on invite. So you'll see on the alert button here, user invitation is in progress. So you say successfully invited the user. So the next steps that we need to actually go into the mailbox of the destination, that's the recipient, the destination user, where we're moving the subscription to. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into, so I've already signed into the mailbox of the user. So you'll see that the user received an invitation to the directory. So this invitation, all you just need to do is just click on accept invitation. But before we accept the invitation, let's quickly go to, let's refresh this page and see something. So this was the user that has been invited as a guest on the directory. So you can actually go and accept the invitation. You click on accept invitation. So once the user has been actually be invited to the directory, that means the user will be able to perform actions. Click on accept. So this will actually take you to a page where it shows different applications that the user will actually have access to. So action require to set up additional security. I don't want to do that now, but let me just say yes for now. Okay, what I actually need, I just needed the users to be invited to the directory, which we can see. Okay, let me sign in and see. So basically this is actually how to invite a user as a guest into your organization. So let's wait for this. It's still signing in. So you want me to set up authentication hub, which I don't want to do right now, but already if I go to my source directory, I'm able to see the user here. So let me refresh. So after activating the subscription, basically Microsoft will give you $150 credit monthly for that subscription. So let me close out of this notification. So the next thing I need to do now is that after the user has been invited as a guest into the tenant, and I can see the user here, all I need to do is to just go back to the home, click on the subscription, but because I already clicked on the subscription before, so I saw it in my recent resources, I'm going to click on the subscription. After clicking on the subscription, I will go to the IAM access control. From the access control here, I'll be able to assign a role based assignment. Click on add, then add a role assignment. So the role I'm adding to this user is actually a role that can actually migrate the subscription, which is the only role that can do that is actually the owner role. So I will click on privilege administrator role here, then select owner. After selecting the owner, I will come down here to next, select member. So I'll have this open for me here. Then I will look for the user that I've invited as a guest. So this is my user here that I invited. After selecting the user will be showing under selected members here. You can actually do it for multiple users if you want more than one users to have that same role-based access control. So you click on select. After clicking on select, you see the user is here. You can see the object ID of the user and click on review and assign. So this is just saying that can a job function role with less access be used instead. So if I don't want to give this user or an owner role, because the owner of the subscription can virtually do anything in the subscription, unlike a contributor access. In the future videos I'll explain different roles. So let's click on review and create. So the alert here shows that the role has been added role assigned. So after assigning this role, this is actually the role that enables the users to be able to migrate the subscription from the source directory to the destination directory. So I need to go to the destination directory now. So I'm back to the destination directory here, and in the destination directory I'll go back home. I just want to be sure. If I refresh this page and click on the subscription here, if I click on the subscription, I will still see that the subscription is not yet here, even though the user has been assigned the owner of the subscription. Yes, it's not there because we are still in this directory. The subscription has not been moved to the destination directory. The subscription is still in the source directory. So what we need to do is to click on the account manager, then click on switch directory. So it tells me that this is a current directory that I am on now. Then I can switch to the default directory, which was the directory that I invited the user. So I'll click on switch here. So what this is doing is that is actually switching the directory from the source, from the destination directory to the source, where I can see that the user actually have a role-based access control on the subscription. So it's going to ask me to actually set up multi-factor authentication, which is something I don't want to do right now. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to actually move the subscription to a different directory other than this particular directory. Is a different directory. Alright, so because I didn't want to actually set up multi-factor authentication due to time, so what I did was to sign in into portal.azure with a different directory. Now if you go to subscription here, you will see that I have the same Virtual Studio Enterprise subscription here, but this one is actually disabled. So I'm going to do a follow-up video why this is actually the directory I wanted the subscription to be, but because this particular user is not licensed, doesn't have a mailbox, so it was just to show us how the email is received when you invite the users as a guest to the tenant. So already this user has actually been invited as a guest on the source directory. So I'm going back to the source directory now. So on the source directory, I believe I must have actually also assigned the owner subscription, the owner role to the subscription for this user. So let me confirm. So hard role assignment. I'm going to click on privilege administrator, select owner again for this one, then click on next, select member. So I'm moving it to this other directory here, but I'm sure I've assigned the owner permission, the owner role already. So it's going to give us an error if I've assigned. So click on review and assign again. So adding role assignments. So he's saying that was added as the owner. Alright, awesome. I thought I've actually assigned the user as the owner. Let me confirm again. Click on add role assignments, privilege administrator, owner, next, select member. So I'm selecting these, then click on select, review and assign. So it should throw me an error if I'm average. So it's a failed to assign because he's already the owner. Awesome. So now I'm going to the destination directory now. So forget this is the disabled one. The other subscription we're trying to move here is the active one, because I have some resources on this particular subscription and I don't want those resources to actually be deleted. So that's actually one of the reasons I'm moving the subscription here, so I can actually in my follow-up video move those resources from one subscription to another subscription. So I'm going back home here. So I need to switch to the source directory from my destination directory. I'll click on the account manager, then click on switch directory. I only have one directory. Let me refresh that. I should have more than one directory here. Let me switch directory. Okay, let me confirm if the user is actually a guest from the source directory. Alright, I'm back to my source directory. I'm going back home, going to Azure Active Directory, add user, invite the user. Just need to invite this user. I'm typing in the email address of the user, and that's the only thing that is important. I'm clicking on invite. Successfully invite. So let me click on the users here and refresh. So I have this user. So the user is the first user here on the tenant. So let me go back to the source, the destination directory. Let me refresh this. Alright, so I ended up going to actually configuring multi-factor authentication for this account, so I could actually switch into the directory. So it's actually very easy to configure the multi-factor authentication. I will be showing that in another video. So I'm currently in the default directory now. So if you see, let me go back. If you click on switch directory, let me go back to the original directory, which is actually the destination directory where we are going. We'll find that out this user, because this directory doesn't have any subscription. If you click on subscriptions, I will notice that there is no subscription here. So we'll go back, click on the account manager, then click on switch directory. Then we're switching from this current directory to the default directory, which is the directory that has the Virtual Studio Enterprise subscriptions. So we'll notice here that this user can actually, because this user has been given the owner role to this subscription in this directory, so whenever this user can switch to the directory, because the user has been invited as a guest, then the user has access to the subscription. If I click on subscription now, we'll see that the subscription is actually showing for the user. So the subscription is showing for the user, and the subscription is active at the moment. So now the user is actually an owner, so he's going to show the role of the user. He's an owner to the subscription, and this owner role is actually what gives the user the privilege to be able to do anything to the subscription, like change the subscription. So to move the subscription from this current directory, which is a default directory, the source directory, to the destination directory, we'll click on the subscription, then click on access control, IAM. Go back to the overview. Under the overview, you see the change directory subscription. So you can actually cancel if you want to cancel. If you want to rename the subscription, I can rename the subscription. So what we're doing is to actually move the subscription. So we want to change the directory. So once you click on change directory, it will tell you from which directory the subscription is currently on, which is a default directory here. So to which directory are you moving into, which is actually the directory of the user. So select the directory. We check this post. You can read this. It says, I understand that changing directory does not transfer some resources. For example, all Azure role-based access control assignments are deleted. So basically everything is broken. Your role-based, the access, the owner role that this user has will actually be broken. So by the time the subscription gets to the destination directory, we need to go back to assign the owner role. So once you check this box, you click on change here. So depending on the speed of the internet, so it will take some while before the subscription will be changed. Let me refresh. So once it changed, it's going to actually leave this current directory and it will go to the other directory. So it's going to take a while, so I'm going to pause the video while we wait for the subscription to actually change. Alright, so after some minutes, about 5 to 10 minutes, you can click on view subscriptions so that the subscription is no longer in this particular directory. So depending on time it will take to migrate the subscription basically. So now since the subscription is no longer in the default directory, so what we can do right now is that we need to go back to the account manager, click on switch directory, and switch back to the destination directory to confirm if our subscription is there. So let's wait for that to happen quickly. So we can see in our destination directory, for you seeing this alert alone, it tells you that there is actually a subscription here. So it's still taking time, so the movement is still happening because I refresh immediately. I noticed that the subscription is no longer there. So if I click on home, click on subscriptions, so in our directory, you want to confirm the directory again, click on the account manager, click on switch directory. You will see that the current directory is this directory that had no subscription before. Here that had the subscription has moved from this particular directory to this directory. So let's go back to the subscription, click on home, click on subscription. So remember, when you're moving the subscription, there was a prompt that note that the permission, the Azure RBAC permission to the subscription will be broken. So we need to assign the permission back to the user. So click on the subscription, then click on the access control IAM, then we'll click on the add a role assignment. Then we'll select privilege administrator role, select owner, then say next, then select member. So the user that is actually this user, or any user in your organization that you want to give the owner role to. So just search for the user. I'm going to search for the user. This is the user. It's a global admin of the tenant. I'm going to say select and click on review plus assign, review plus assign again. So wait for the role to be assigned to the user. So the role has been successfully assigned to the user. So this means that when the subscription moved from the source directory to this destination directory, the user, the role-based access control for that user was actually broken. Otherwise it would have thrown us an error that this user role already exists. Alright, so let's go to the summary. Let's go back to our slide for the summary. So before I take the summary, while the Windows Server Active Directory here and Azure Active Directory, why they share similar name, Azure AD is not actually the cloud version of Windows Server Active Directory. It is also not intended as a complete replacement for an on-premise Active Directory. Instead, if you are already using a Windows AD server, you can connect it to the Azure AD to extend your directory into the Azure. This approach allows users to use the same credentials to access the local and the cloud-based resources. Then also, for the Azure subscription, you can actually add users and group to multiple subscriptions. This allows the users to create, control, and access resources in the subscriptions. So when you add a user to your subscription, the user also must be known to be associated to the directory. So before a user can be added to the subscription, you must either the user is a member of the directory, or the user has actually been added as a guest to the directory. So I'll take home. What are the things? So the steps, again, I'm going to over them one after the other. The first one is to sign into portal.azure on the two different directories, both the source and the destination directory. The next, you invite the user in the destination directory to the source directory as a guest. Then next, you go to the mailbox of the invited users and accept the invitation. Then you navigate back to the source directory. You click on the subscription after you search for it on the search bar. Then click on the subscription that you want to move. Then you click on the access control, the IAM. Click on the hard assignment, then hard role assignment, then click on the privilege administrator role. From there, you select the owner, then click on next, then click on select member, search for the member that you would like to assign the owner role, and click on select. Then from there, you navigate to the destination directory. From there, you click on account manager, switch directory, select the source directory, then search for the subscription in the search bar, and you will see the subscription because the user has an owner role to the subscription. Then click on the subscription, change directory, select this destination directory and click on change. So wait for the subscription to move to the destination directory. It usually takes time around 5 to 10 minutes. Click on the account manager again, switch directory, select the destination directory, then search for the subscription, select the subscription under the services, then click on the subscription that you just moved to the directory. You'll be able to see it there at this point. Then click on access control. The same thing we did, hard role assignments, privilege administrator roles, then click on owner, then next click on select member, search for the member that you would like to assign the owner role or any other role to, then click on select. So the process of actually moving subscription breaks every role in the subscription, so that's actually why we needed to do that. So I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye for now.